So, hello friends. We are back with Miss Ishara, and sorry for being late. Miss Ishara might be somewhat busy. I think so.
I think I just had a technical glitch.
So, yeah, Miss Ishara, welcome back to my channel. And we are going to talk about those two videos today, which have been circulated in the public domain, which are very devastating, I will say. And I'm personally very sad after looking at those videos, that what
Mhm.
kind of videos and what kind of say people are they, and that to circulate such videos at such a time. So what I think that they have certain planning in their mind, you know,
Exactly.
one after the
Exactly.
other, they have all the records, they have taken all the records and everything, and one after the other they are circulating this purposefully.
Yes.
So now, yeah.
Okay, well, hello to all the viewers out there, and I must say thank you to you, Dr. Bupesh, for allowing me this opportunity, and to all the viewers for their warm and supportive responses. Now, coming to Sushant's case, it is sad indeed to see these videos being circulated, but there is a purpose, as you said, behind it. They are very well timed. Each time there's a development in her case, there is a video that is released, okay,
Yeah.
with a certain purpose in mind. And in my opinion, if these videos are authentic, the purpose would be then to unsettle the public, to throw them off track, to divert their attention, and also to weaken Sushant's case, to prove that he's actually mentally unstable, that he was on drugs, because as you see in the video, he looks highly drugged, in my opinion. He looks highly drugged. And you can also see that he has bruises on his face and he's
Yeah.
not in his normal senses. So, that, in my opinion, if it is true, that video, then that means that it's a reflection of the people who released it. It's telling you what kind of people you are dealing with. They don't feel anything. It's cruel to expose somebody who is so vulnerable in that state. If you say you love somebody, you don't expose them in that vulnerable state. You protect them from that. You will not let that go out. But this is deliberate.
You know
It's
what
to
I think,
discredit
Miss
him.
Tara? Yeah, you know, when somebody is making a video like that, what I think. So what I feel, what could have happened here?
Mhm.
Say, first of all, he was drugged every time, and during that state, his videos were recorded,
Yes, it
all such
was.
videos. And then whenever he was normal, then those videos were showed to him. See how you react.
Hmm.
So particularly what happens to you. So he was completely unaware of this. He was
Yes, he
completely
was.
unaware of this, and then something was happening to him, and he was showed that it is not because of the drugs, and it is just because of your mental state. What is
Of your,
happening to you?
yes, as I said in my previous video, it's a power of suggestion. If you
Yeah,
show somebody a video like that and say this is your behavior when you are drugged, that
yeah.
person's going to believe it. They believe that that is their actual behavior, but his is induced behavior, drug induced behavior. It was not taken on his own free will.
So what?
So
So what I think till February, because as it was said in the news channel that it was the video from February and from March. So till
mhm.
February or March, he was not knowing that what he is going through actually, or he is under the influence of the drugs. So one thing is that if he would have known, then he would have definitely say counteract that thing. And secondly, what I have noticed, what I want to know from your side, that as we have seen that his face is having certain kind of injury mark on right
Yes,
side, on
yes.
right side. So what are those, and what could have happened here?
I think he was beaten into submission. You know, if he didn't want to comply with what they wanted him to do, I believe they would beat him and drug him even more to get him to do what they wanted. Because I mean, he was strong-minded. He was, you know, in his normal senses, you couldn't make him do what he didn't want to do. So they had to incapacitate him in some way and make him do their bidding.
Okay.
And if you notice, I'm not sure, I haven't seen him in the public limelight for these past few months preceding his death. So he was kept out of public view. So nobody knew these things were transpiring. Nobody saw the injuries on him. It was all kept quiet. And, within that group of people and within that house, he was confined. you know
Yes.
I think only after she left, then maybe he wanted to do something about it, and he realized that this was happening to me. That's when they had that major argument, and she left.
Yes. And now let us decode those words, what have been spoken to him or what he is saying. If we will go even under the influence of the drug, what I can see, say when Ria is asking, what is the color of your ear? And he says pink. So why this is happening? How you can decode such thing? Why he's telling the color of the ear is pink? Means he has been beaten up and shown that color
I
that
heard him
is
say
pink.
something like pain. That the talking, well, when I watched it wasn't too clear, but I did catch something that said, I'm feeling pain. So definitely he was referring to pain, but he was not comprehending, why he was in pain. He couldn't understand
No,
why he
that's the
was in
other
pain.
video. We talk about the first video where he is reading a book that what's the loaded book, and
Yes,
then
yes.
she's asking that what is the color of your pink, and so what is the color of your ear, and what is the color of your face. So he says pink there.
Hmm.
I don't know why it is. And then suddenly she talk about the Ludo game, that I think she is confirming at that time whether he is remembering everything or not still.
Yes, I think so too, because she's just testing the waters to see how sane he is at that point. Because
Yes,
these
yes.
drugs have taken such an effect on him. She's just testing to see where his mind actually is. Because has he regressed to like being a child, you know, where she can control him, or is he still a normal thinking person? And from what he's saying, my ears are pink, that shows you he's not in his right senses. An adult, normal thinking adult, will not say my ears are pink.
And if I ask you that, if we take a chance that if we take a course that it was a candid video, it was just a candid video, but I
Just a
don't
fun
think,
video, yeah.
yeah, just a fun video, but I don't think completely, because what has happened when she says that, shall I send it to Papa?
Well,
Uh,
which
shall
papa is she referring to? Because
Yeah.
she has two
Shall I
papas.
send it? I think so. She's purposefully is doing this for a long period of time. And viewers, I would like to tell you one more thing. Long back, when the case was registered, when an FIR was registered against her, she only gave a paper where she said that I only have a gratitude list from Shashank. The only gratitude list which I am having as a property, as an asset of Shashank. Now everything is being revealed, say purposefully. So these are the things which are raising much more issues against her. Say, if I'm the investigator, I will take it this as, you know it in the favor of Mr. Sushant, that he was drugged for a longer period of time, and he was also brutally beaten up, which we can see from his face. Say how a person can injure himself in this condition, or what kind of injury marks do you think that he was having?
I think most of it was, psychological trauma that he was suffering from. But they also beat him. I mean, even if the video is a candid video, it was a fun video. Do you show yourself with bruises on your face? Do you show yourself so, you know, compromised? I mean, you see him sitting on that chair, and he's like, he doesn't know who he is anymore.
Yes, yes.
It comes across as that. So he was really, really traumatized mentally and physically.
But now, as you can read on your screen, that he was working on some coding something, and then he said it is a binary. 1 plus 1 is equal to 0. He said. Then Ria suddenly said, "No, Babu, you are not a zero." So it was to divert the mind. Still, he was so intelligent. Still, he was knowing that, means, so in the part of between the subconsciousness and unconsciousness, and between returning to consciousness, so he was somewhere swinging under the influence
Mood
of
swings,
drugs.
yes, mood swings
Yeah,
because of the multiple drugs that he was taking. And thus, if you read the side effects on those drugs, they create delusions, they create hallucinations.
yeah. And then the other thing was, this viewer says that very good point, that he has been pressurized to think that he is a zero.
Yes, because they wanted him to feel as though he was worthless.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that
He
was the
was,
whole idea, to make him feel worthless, to shame him in public. And they threatened him with that. We're going to expose you that you are a mental patient. We're going to expose your mental history.
yep, yep.
So that
And
if you tell that to somebody, there's a lot of stigma around mental illness in a lot of countries around the world. People don't talk easily about it, and they are ashamed of admitting it or seeking help. So they were naming and shaming him, to get the better
this
of him.
was so much planned. This was so much planned that under the influence of drug, they have recorded his videos, and then when he was out of the drug influence, they must have showed him those videos. See how you feel about yourself, what is happening
Exactly.
to you now. You need to go to doctor. Now you need to do this,
Yes. You're
and this
out
is
of
what.
control and you need to
Yeah,
seek help. And that
yeah.
would cover their story, why he was taking drugs, why they were procuring drugs. It was for him.
And then he started believing on those videos that what is happening, and he must have asked these people not to reveal this further.
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
That
so,
they
so
had
that was
that
a good.
power over him,
So
unfortunately.
it was such a disheartening thing. Even say, even if he was feeling it's truly, one should not throw out these videos say,
Exactly. In the
in public
public
at any.
domain, you should not do that. For one, it is very cruel. I mean, his family is still trying to deal with this traumatic event, and it's not fair to his family or to Sushant in his memory to do such a thing. But it's just cruel. That's the cruel nature of these people that we are dealing with, you know.
So even by realizing this thing, how bad I am feeling, how bad all people, how bad you are
It's to
feeling,
upset people.
or
It's really to
it's your.
upset people and to throw them off track of what the main issue is. But we need to also, at the same time, separate fact from fiction. We need to deal with the facts, not be swayed by what could be or maybe. We need to have fact. We have to authenticate things and then go from there. So try not to like be upset unless we know that that is a real video. And who else would have leaked it? If it is a real video, the only person who was filming it was Ria, because
Yeah,
she's talking.
yeah,
And then
because
she
in the first
has
video I
a
don't see
reason
any.
for
Yeah, yeah.
releasing it at a certain particular point. And I'm sure we're going to see more of that happening as
More
this
videos
case
for sure, for sure.
progresses. You're going to see all these. They are not leaked. They're deliberately put onto
Deliberately.
the public domain. Nothing about this case, as I've said previously, is just happens. It's always a deliberate. It's strategy.
It's a strategy. When the police said on the very first day that it is a case of suicide,
Yes,
so they were having all these proofs to prove this as a case of suicide. But when the drug angle came in between, now they are again showing it in the other way, that they are purchasing drug for Sushant because he was a drug
exactly.
addict.
That's why they
And
released the video to show that he was drug dependent, that they were getting the drugs for him. So to deflect their guilt onto Sushant.
I'm really telling you, Miss Ishara, I'm so painful this time. I'm feeling so painful.
I
I don't
know
want to
the
discuss.
whole world is reeling from this. I can see it on you, and I've been seeing videos and reactions. It's such a disheartening thing to see such a brilliant, wonderful person being taken advantage of in this fashion. I mean, he lost his life when he shouldn't have. I
Yes,
mean, Ria could have had it all. She could have had the love, the lifestyle, the fortune, the fame, everything. You didn't have to kill somebody to get that.
yes. And here is a question: the psychotropic drugs plus drugs can be lethal. Of course, they can be lethal too. And what I see, Miss Ishara, that till last year when his last movie was released, I
Mhm.
think Chichore or something was there, and he was doing very well at that time. So it has happened just in past few months
In the
only.
past few,
Yeah.
because they were heavily medicating him. It was,
Yeah.
it was not normal doses. They were really heavily medicating him with multiple drugs and also physical trauma. So that
Yeah.
compounds everything. It makes it so bad for him, physically and emotionally. And being isolated from family and friends to get any support of any kind was their strategy.
Yes.
That was the only way to get the better of him, and to actually debilitate him in every possible way, because they knew they cannot take advantage over Sushant. He was
Yeah.
too clever. He knew you couldn't put anything past him. He'd investigate it, he'd find the truth out, and that's what happened, as we know with Disha Salian's case and his case. That's why he was killed.
Yes, that's it. There is a something very good clue or very good suggestion from Mr. Akash. In both the videos, Sushant was not in senses. Of course, he was not. In the second video, he was somewhat. I can see that when he's talking to other person also. But in the first video, completely he was senseless. But doesn't show him physically consuming the drugs. Yeah, because they were the one who will say who were giving him the drugs actually.
I haven't seen the second video, but from what you're describing, I think first of all you need to have a timeline. When were those videos taken? I mean, if
Eh,
he was talking properly in normal senses to somebody, that was obviously taken when he was not being medicated.
yes,
And obviously, the one where he's so debilitated and bruised and beaten, that's when he was under the influence of drugs,
and what I
forceful
think,
under the influence
and
of
what I
drugs.
think, they must have shown the same video to the doctors also that this is how he is
How
behaving.
he is behaving. Yes, because under
So
lockdown you cannot consult probably a doctor in person. So the online consults is what's going on now, and you can see. To me, he also looks very undernourished. He's not healthy looking. He looks
yeah,
very weak and
yeah, at that time,
vulnerable, very, very weak and vulnerable, like as though he's been starved. Now, if you, this is just my assumption, if you are being starved but you're being fed drugs and you're being deprived of sleep, you know, what does happen to you? Your mind is totally um, demolished.
yeah,
You have no idea of time, place, who you are. You are isolated. Who do you turn to? You are a prisoner in your own home, controlled by people who have no empathy.
yes, very true. So what I think, when he was not under the influence of the drug, they were taking him to doctors, or they were showing the sympathy that we are that what we are doing to you,
Yes,
and creating the other documentation that he is suffering from this thing and that thing, and then making the record of those medications and everything, and then giving him drugs on the other side to prove this. So
yes.
it was completely so brutally planned
It
everything.
was everything is so calculated. And as I said, you get a prescription, but what you put in the bottle is a different story. Who
Yeah.
knows what those tablets were until somebody actually examines those tablets. They are tested to see what they are, what was being given to him, how was it being given. I mean, they disposed of his body very quickly because you're the forensic expert. I mean, you can detect traces, minute traces of any drug or anything in the body. You can detect where it has been, how it has been administered, through injection, through IV, through whatever. You can determine that. But very conveniently, the body was cremated so rapidly.
Yes, and whatever viscera has been now remained, even I don't know whether it is actually his viscera. The DNA testing has to be
Exactly.
done. We do not know whether the postmortem has actually happened or not, or whatever the reason was. So even if viscera if it belongs to him, then definitely the thing will comes out.
Yeah.
And here is something from Miss Anshal Tyagi.
And just a second.
Yeah.
Also, with that report, it says his stomach had nothing in it, which proves actually he was being deprived of food and water, and it
Yes.
contradicts what Niraj has said, that he gave him juice and he gave him banana, which he didn't eat. But I mean, you would have found traces of juice and stuff in his body. But seeing that you found nothing, that shows you that this poor guy was starved. It shows you that.
See, there is a question, even reading the viewer's question, it is so painful. So I don't want to do this video at all, but I want
It's
to
painful.
understand,
It is. It's cruel.
because there are two possibilities. One, it is true, one, it is not true. In both the cases, the video is true. In both
Yes.
the cases, the video, the
Somebody put it
presentation,
out there.
yeah, somebody
Exactly.
put it out there. So purposefully, not purposefully, or whatever, in both the cases, if he was in pain, then why nobody, why Neeraj the cook, or why anybody, Siddharth Patani, till now in any of their statement have not talked about such thing, that he was not feeling well or he was behaving like this. Why
Hmm.
nobody has not? Because they all were knowing.
Yes,
Because
they
they
knew
all were
exactly.
knowing that
They were all just following orders to keep him
order.
isolated, to keep him under control, to feed him drugs at a certain time within this, with a certain dose. I think it was Patani who was charged with, well, not charged, or what I mean is that he was told to administer these drugs at a certain time in a certain dose.
Yeah, there are many questions coming. We should not ignore them. Yeah, yeah. Would you like to answer this question?
What does it say there? So it could possible that Ria and gang was checking how much quantity they should give him. They know exactly. As a drug addict, as we have heard from Ria herself, she has been taking drugs. Okay, drug addicts know their limit. Obviously, some people overdose when they take too much. They knew the dosage, safe dosage. Shall put it as that, safe dosage. What the effects would be, but they were over medicating him. They were overdosing him with multiple drugs
Yeah, in both the ways.
in both the ways.
Maybe one is the stimulant, and then other one is the
Yes,
CNS
so
depressant. So
it
both
was
the ways
giving him
contact.
that bipolar look,
Yeah,
like
look, yeah.
manic one side, depressive one side. But it was all induced by the drugs that they were feeding him.
Now, this you have already discussed, that yeah, she is such a complicated personality that seems hysterical sometime. Yes,
Yes,
of
she's
course.
very complicated, but as I in the previous video I said, she's a histrionic and a narcissistic person, and she's living up to that profile. She's very selfish. She has no empathy, and she will just do what she needs to do to get her way. So she has a sense of entitlement, that this is mine and I need it and I will get it whatever way needs be. And she's very flirtatious and stuff like that. But as you see now, the new Ria that's emerging, at first she came out as the victim, the girlfriend who's grieving, and being judged by society, the criminal justice system, by the media. And
Yes.
that was the personality that she was exposing at that time. But now that she has been arrested, if you look at her body language, you will see that this is a total different Ria. This is Ria in her natural self. As she said, she's the Thai,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that now she's asserting herself exactly as a Thai. If you
Yeah.
see that she's used some okay, body language is non-verbal
Yeah,
communication. You know,
shaking hands.
you
Yeah,
use
one.
gestures, you use voice, you use eye contact. As we know, with gestures, a thumbs up, what that means, you know, and it has been used on TV
So there
many
is a
times.
question. Yeah, there's a question. But sir, why didn't he break up with Ria? Him being so intelligent and educated. I think he realized it very late.
Too late.
each each
Exactly.
each one of us requires somebody who can listen to us and who can have some kind of sympathy. And I think that he realized it very late, and it was
Yes.
too late that his life has been sacrificed for it, for sure.
Yes, definitely. They knew he was vulnerable. They knew he was a loving person, and they took advantage of his weakest points. His weakest points was trusting people, loving
Yeah.
people, you
Yes.
know. allowing people to live in his house, pay their way, and being such a good person. They took advantage of those good qualities, unfortunately for him, and
I'm
he
still
realized
thinking.
it too late.
I'm still thinking why he has been chosen. Why this particular person? Why not anybody big star, say who is having a lot of money or something? I
Well,
mean,
we won't go after a big star, because a big star is also protected by, as we know, the existence of the Bollywood mafia. Okay,
hmm,
Sushant was an outsider. He was expendable in their minds. He was not such a big star that they had to, be cautious around him. He was an upcoming rising star. Although he
yeah.
was so brilliant, they took advantage over his vulnerabilities.
And buying the properties also and everything. So people have targeted him, or he might be knowing something from very much start, or maybe since 1 or 2 years. So one has planted her in his life.
Into his
That can
life,
be, yeah.
yes. She was definitely planted into his life, and this is when all this was set in motion to totally deprive him of all family and friends, to isolate him. When somebody is isolated, they have nobody to turn to. And when somebody is playing tricks with drugs and, corrupting your mind and your thinking, it's difficult to get yourself out of the situation, because this person is telling you they love you. And
Hmm.
he was a lovable person, and he returned those feelings, not thinking that, as they say, she had a knife behind his back. That's just a
Yeah.
saying, but that's what happened. He didn't realize it until it was really too late, until the call from Disha, you know.
Yeah.
And after
Yeah.
she had left, those few days that he didn't get any drugs put into his body, he may have regained a little bit of his mind, in that time while she was not there.
Yes, and she must have taken all those record. What was there in the hard drive, hard disk? Only these are the videos or something like that to defame him all the time, which he was very much scared of. That. So anyhow, they have planned that either he will commit suicide, or if he will not, then we have this planning, and
Exactly,
and they
exactly.
succeed in the second planning. What would be the answer for this question for Miss Rakshita Pandey?
What is your take on narcissistic personality also in the context of fear? She shows. I'm just battling to read because I'm reading from my phone.
Okay. What is
Yeah.
your take on narcissist personality disorder in the context of RIA?
Well, as I said, narcissistic personalities are very selfish people. They have a sense of entitlement that, they are entitled to things. They don't show empathy. They are not committed in relationships. Like she was not committed to Sushant in any way. She said that she loved him for public to believe that, but that's not true. That's not the true Ria. The true Ria is what you are seeing now.
Yeah.
You're seeing her now. She's coming out as, you see, a narcissistic personality will keep the hidden. There's so much to behavior. Okay, there's 8 types of behavior, and she is a covert type of person. She does things behind the scenes. What
Behind
you
the scenes.
see is not what you get of Ria. She has a public perception, and then she has her private behind the scenes look.
Oh my God, I
And
still remember that the video where she's saying that she's Thai, and she's saying
exactly,
all the things. You know how much
that's who
proof.
she is. That's who
Yeah.
she's asserting now. If you look at her body language, previously she was just very uh, conservatively. She had her head covered. She would not make eye contact or anything of the sort. Head would
Yeah.
be bowed. And now, when you look at her after she's been arrested, she comes out. Her arms are folded, which means I'm not going to cooperate with you. I am who I am, and I'm going to give you a run for your money. She's now dressing differently. Head is no more covered. She's totally exposing who she is. She's wearing a tracksuit, meaning, I'm going to give you a run for your money. You're going to have a hard time catching up with me. Then she waves to the crowd because she's now asserting herself as a Thai, as a
Yeah.
Don. So she's proud of who she is. And she knows she has backing from influential corners. So she's willing to take the risk. And at the beginning of the other video, I said that It takes a certain type of person to commit a certain type of crime.
Yeah, of
And
course.
she fits the narcissistic personality completely.
So, dear viewer, still we are not blaming, but we all know that how much pain we are having in our hearts, in our minds, and yes, of course, we need to find out the truth. And I have a one question with you, Miss Ishara.
Hmm.
Even out of those two videos about the Sushant, though he was drugged, we can completely see that there was something very fictitious which is happening.
Hmm.
Uh, but still, if we want to read the body language of this person, Mr. Sushant, how you think that he was at that time, even?
At that time, he was totally compromised, physically and emotionally. And he was being, you can see he's being manipulated. He's not comfortable. He's not his normal self. You
And
can,
why she
it's,
is saying again and again all of the time, you are so cute, you are so handsome, means making him feel. So if they show him these videos afterwards, so he must realize that how much people are caring about me.
yeah,
Or
exactly.
if somebody else will see these videos, so they will think that how much this person was caring about him, so even though he was suffering from so many things. So this was the one
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, but
uh,
that's just for show.
yeah.
That's just for show. It's not the true thing. He didn't know what was happening to him. He had no concept of time. I don't think he even knew what day it was because he was so highly medicated. I mean, if
Yeah.
you are sick and you really sick and you have taken heavy medication and somebody's trying to talk something important to you, you can't comprehend it because your mind is in a different place.
Yes. There is a question, Dr. Bhupesh. The video showed he already took drug. Why didn't she record a video when he was? Yes, of course. Why she has not recorded any video when he is actually taking drugs? Because he was induced.
Yes.
The drugs were introduced into his system deliberately, for
And
sure.
who knows what's to come out later? To prove her case that he was a drug addict, they probably have one where he's taking
One,
drugs,
yeah, yeah.
where, they may show the hands administering it, but who's doing it? You don't know what kind of videos will come out soon.
But what we can easily say, till last year, so a year back, he was not a kind of a person what we see him in the video right now.
Yes.
And viewers, one more thing, you must have heard about that audio recording where they are making some trust and where the people are there. Now I think she is the completely one controlling or recording every time through CCTV cameras and
Yes.
through everything. She's the one audio recording and everything. Yes,
Yes,
of
that
course.
was recorded to show, concern. We are so concerned that nobody must do anything bad to your financial status and things like
Oh
that.
my God, how much painful is all this?
Yes, it
This
is
is
very
really,
painful, and it's too explicit, too graphic to put out there in the public domain. We have to, consider his family and what they are going through. So we cannot describe everything. We may know what happened to him and stuff like that, but we cannot put it out there. That would be even more cruel of us to do that.
yes. Dear all, we understand your concern here that what you are telling that she has been booked under the Drug Act and she'll be released. But we all have to have faith in God because we all are feeling the same pain. It's even the family too. And we have to believe in God. We have to believe in good energy, the positive vibes right now. And it's our belief which will let us win. Otherwise, it has been.
Exactly, exactly. We have to keep the faith and we have to be patient because there's many elements as we have discussed previously in this case. So this is going to take some time. You're going to see some very upsetting videos. I'm sure that will be coming out as we go on with this case because everything, as I said, is timed, deliberately timed to come out at a specific time.
I'm having, my crying eyes right now, but I'm not crying because I'm in front of the camera. But it's so
Exactly.
painful because what we see in those videos, you know, in those videos is completely something to show off. Somebody wants to show off that this is what
Yes.
he is actually.
Yes, they wanted to show him at his weakest.
Yeah.
But who made him in that way? Who made him to reach
The,
that
yeah, the
extent?
question is that they
You
who
know,
made him?
why would you videotape somebody who is so mentally and physically compromised? Why didn't you reach out to the
Yes,
parents?
to
Why
help.
didn't
Yeah,
you
to
reach
the
out to the
parents.
friends and say, look, we have a problem. Sushant is going through this. We need to help him. Did
Why
anybody
you?
do that?
Yes.
Nobody did that.
Why you are recording a video completely? See, even if my father say finds me that I am not behaving well, why he will record a video from time to time of this? Why he
Yes.
will take me to doctor immediately, and he will show all the prescription and all the helpful things that what has been done. Why all these videos and records? It is completely, in front of all the people, in front of the world now, that these videos are recorded purposefully and now have
Yes.
been released in the public domain.
Exactly. Exactly, sir.
So, thank you very much, Nishara. If you want to have something else, see, the people are asking about the body language of Ria more of the time. So, in a nutshell, we have already talked about her personality, but still,
Mm-hmm.
in her last video what has been found, not video, I'll say, when she has been arrested, so she is
Uh-huh.
waving a hand to some media person, and then suddenly what came out, she has been wearing a
A
t-shirt.
t-shirt. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Now all those Bollywood people who were supporting her have made this tagline on their Instagram and on their Facebook and all that they are supporting. What kind of support, what kind of people we are living in between with? This is such a harassment.
Unfortunately, in the celebrity world, you get all kinds of people. Some who have a conscience, and others who don't. And dealing with Ria and all the people involved in this case, they don't have a conscience. This is why they did it. If they had a conscience, they wouldn't be doing what they did to Sushant. So it takes all types of people and all types of behavior and personalities to have committed this crime. And unfortunately, he ended up with the wrong uh, set of people in his life, and he was totally isolated, totally deprived of familiar faces and family and friends.
Now
And
we can
that was
understand that,
their main
yeah,
strategy. It was their main strategy.
what all he has gone through. Once you show a person his own video, that how he is behaving,
Hmm.
okay, when he is actually out of that drug influence, and when you show how much depressed he will feel in himself automatically.
Hmm.
So this is
True.
going to happen. So this
Yeah.
is such a
It's
bad
sad
thing.
that people would support the main accused right now, knowing that so much is coming out and there's so much mounting up, so much evidence against her, but people will still support her because she projects this image of being the underdog right now, that she's being blamed unfairly, and that's what she's projecting herself to be. But as I said,
Yeah.
underneath all that, the true Ria has emerged, as
Yes.
we can see.
Do you want to comment on this?
Uh, when she called him cute and handsome, she was patronizing. Yes, she was patronizing him in a way. She was baiting him,
Yes.
showing her dominance. Yes, definitely she was dominant and a bully, because you can see he is so obedient, should I say. She speaks to him like a child, you
Yes.
know, and he responds like a child, because that was all he knew at that moment. It's not impossible that at that point in time where he was so debilitated mentally and physically, maybe he didn't even realize he had family or friends, because this was such a great overburdening of his mind and his body. All he was seeing was Ria and the people in that house, so there was no one else to reach out to.
Yes, yes. And after releasing such videos, if these people think that we will think that Sushant was really depressed, so it is, there are people who are very much intelligent who can notice that what is happening and why these videos are being made. Yes, this is very right, that through these videos he has been blackmailed, of course, and maybe asked for money also. We don't know that he himself have taken out the money and given to these people uh,
Exactly.
out
and
of those videos. Yeah.
and in that compromised state, you don't know what they made him sign, what they made him sign over, or anything of the sort.
Yes.
You don't know. As this goes on, these things will be uncovered. When a
Yes.
person's not in their right mind and you give them a document to sign, they'll just sign it without asking any questions or reading it or anything. So I'm just saying these things could have happened.
Yeah. One thing is very clear. There is not a single message from Sushant's mobile which says buying of a drug or selling of a drug or arranging of a drug or anything. So one thing is very clear that these people were involved in the peddling, in the buying, in the purchasing or selling or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
arranging the drugs. And these are the people, because there is no such video where Sushant is taking. And if they produce one, we don't know. If they
Mm-hmm.
produce one, we do not know in what circumstances they have recorded this video as well.
Exactly, exactly. Yes, that's very true. And as we know, everything in his life was manipulated. So even his phones, his computer, you don't know who was actually sitting behind that computer, who was actually typing messages if they used his phone. It was somebody else. It was definitely not him doing that, because they removed all access, all everything from him. He couldn't do anything
Yeah.
without their permission.
Yes. So, dear viewers, we are ending this session by saying this. I would like to say one thing. Either if these videos are true, if he was really depressed, then also it is very bad to release such videos in the public domain.
Exactly.
It is very bad to record the videos at such time to defame, because this can be used for blackmailing. So what I think is this: we are not blaming anybody, we are not complaining anything, but yes, it is about something very serious which can happen to anybody of us at any, say, point of time. And we should be very careful, we should be very careful about such people around us. So please do take care, and we all are together, we all have to be together, say, together with the family in such a time. And thank you, Miss Ishara, for being here with us. I was really feeling very much depressed myself since last
Mm-hmm.
night after looking at these videos. And there is nothing worse that can happen to a person,
Exactly.
even if it is a true video or fake video, whatever. But it has been done purposefully, released purposefully, which should not have been done at all.
Exactly. And as I say, it's a reflection of the people who put it out there, who videotaped everything. It shows you how actually sick in their minds they are to do such a thing to a human being. And we shouldn't give it much thought, as pay much attention, because this is what they want people to see it, be upset about it. Concentrate really on the main issues at hand, proving that it was not a suicide, proving all the financial side of things. Those are the important things. Remember him as the wonderful person that he was, and the joy that he brought to people's lives.
Yes.
Don't remember him in this deplorable state that they are showing to us. Don't let
Because
it upset us.
what we see in the video is not the actual Sushant, is not the
It's
actual
not,
Sushant.
it's not, it's
Sushant was
definitely
the one
not
who
him.
was till last year. Yes, of course, he has helped so many people. Even, when he was in full consciousness, he was searching property in Kerala, Korgod, as
Yes,
it
I
is
mean, he
coming.
did a lot of good. I mean, with the all the flooding and victims and all, he gave a lot of money. He
Yes,
was such a giving person. They didn't have to destroy him in such a manner to benefit anything from him. They could have lived with him, all been happy, used his money, left him high and dry, but they didn't have to kill him at the end of it. And it
so
was unfortunate, as we discussed previously, why he was killed. And that will come out as we go along. And yeah, so
it's
this
all
is
of
now
our
Ria.
faith. Yes,
She's in survival mode right now, and that's her personality. She's now switched to survival mode. No more victim mode. We are now in survival mode, and we will do what we have to do to take care
yes,
of Ria. That's her thinking right now.
yes.
And
Yes.
definitely, she will not go down without a fight or without taking others with her. She's going to talk sooner or later, you know.
So thank you, Ms. Ashara. Thank you very much for be with us and for helping us um, to understand the things. And I request you, if we require you once again, please be with us. So,
Thank you. I
because we
must just say
require.
that it is a pleasure indeed, and it's great to see people, asking for justice to be done, because change is needed. People cannot go on like this, being intimidated, being, you know,
Yes,
left with no options in the justice system. And we need justice for everybody, not
yes,
just
it is
one
justice for
person.
everybody.
It's for everybody.
And again,
Yes.
on my channel, I make a claim that we are not blaming anybody, but this is what we are seeing.
Yes,
We are
this is
we
just
are
hypothetical. It can be proved, it
hypothetical.
can be disproved at any
We
time.
are perceiving. It is mostly, it is in front of all our eyes, that what,
Exactly.
why, say, even if it is for good, the video should not have been released at all,
It should
even
not
if it
have
is for
been.
good.
Yes, there were,
Okay.
ulterior motives to why it was released.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much, Miss Ishara. Thank you, viewers, for being
Thank
with
you.
us.
Thank you.
Thank
You
you
take
all.
care of yourself too.
I will definitely. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, viewers.